There we go. We back. How we sounding, man? We good? On the scale from 1 to 10, man. How we looking? We coming in right? Y'all know I've been doing a lot of studying this morning, man. Just checking out these markets. I don't like being frustrated ever. I like relaxation. Masculinity requires you to be relaxed. My testosterone lowers when I'm anxiety filled. You feel me? I don't feel like doing nothing. What's going on?
Right,
There we go.
right.
We back in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, we ain't went on a live in a while, so it got to be special. Usually we do these world addressments, and it's always special news. I know I'm 25 million views up since the last time we talked. Y'all just dropped the All Money In doc. That was a hard one. Congratulations on that. Two back-to-back sold-out shows. Toronto, congratulations on that. We could probably do this a lot, because it's always something going on. In the name, earn your leisure. I think it's so responsible because first it starts off earning, and to earn something, you got to work for it, right? Before you get to the leisure part, like there's a philosophy built into just saying the name, to earn your leisure, right? And I think that most people probably overlook the accountability that's in that statement. You feel me? Like, damn, I want to relax. I want to have leisure time. But before I get there, I got to start with the earn part. You feel me? And I think that's so powerful because when you see individuals like yourself, Rashad, Troy, and the team, as y'all move around and have constant upward mobility, it's because of the work on the back end that most people don't see. So for me, give me 1 second, man, to describe what the work is like on the back end. Like how many tasks, how much anxiety, how much lack of sleep that happens, process, overthinking, fires to put out that people don't see, and they get to see the moments, and that shit look real nice and shiny. But the
No,
back
that's a
end is
fact.
where
I'm
you earn
glad you
your
said that.
leisure.
People see the final product, but they don't see what goes into making the final product. So, man, it's nonstop, bro. Traveling all over the world, Zoom calls every hour, on the hour, emails and text messaging and going through, different conversations and calling audibles on the fly. So, it's ups and downs in business. It's never going to be just all good. But if you are planning on being in business, you gotta understand that you gotta keep your composure because it's a roller coaster, man. Every day we do a variety of different things, man. So shout out to the whole team, as you said, Abdullah. This guy is like does the job of 100 different people. Mike, Chris, Bam, Rich. It's a team, and it takes a lot of people to put this ship on the right. And we just glad that we on that mission. And you had mentioned the All Money In episode. Big shout out to the whole All Money In team. Also, big shout out to Black Sam,
Mm-hmm.
big shout out to Copy Supreme, BH, Pac-Man, JP, the whole team. So that's something that we're really proud about, as far as putting that out there. And it's a blessing to be able to, get the feedback the way that it's come in. People have championed it. A lot of the clips has gone viral. So that meant a lot to us because Nipsey was somebody that was a major influence to us.
Yeah.
So we never got a chance to meet him physically in person. But it's crazy because he was able to develop such good relationships with almost every single person that was close to him, his family, his friends. And I just felt like that was just in
Mm-hmm.
alignment. Like I know that if he was alive, I know he would rock with us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Heavily, heavily. You know. That's one of those things I get people. I think right after his death, his passing, and up until now, people always hit me with, "Yo, you remind me of Nip." And when he was doing his business out in Oakland, I mean in LA, I had my business out in Oakland, right? And you know, a lot of what he was doing was so in line with my thinking completely. And I feel like that's how it is with Nipsey Hussle specifically. It's like you felt in tune because you see that same vision and you appreciate the direction he was going. It's one of those things where so many times throughout our culture, we talk about what we want to see. And when somebody finally does it, it almost feels surreal. Like, damn, bro, it's real and he actually doing it. You feel me? And so that was one of the things that I appreciated from Nipsey Hussle was like a lot of things we wanted to see rappers do, he actually was executing on a daily basis, right? And it wasn't an easy blueprint to follow. And at the same time, with y'all, Doc, you know, it reminded me of me, my team, and my family. I was looking at a tweet I put out maybe like 5 years ago saying that my dream is to have a family business, you know, and being able to have a successful family business for the last 3 years now and having everybody work together and, you know, that's the payroll like that. Those are the type of things on the back end that's hard as hell, but that excite me and keep me going on a daily basis. And the way he was able to install what he learned into, you know, his team and translate that information where everybody understands it, right? Man, that's so powerful because that's really, to me, one of the hardest things to do. It's like how to translate that spirit that you have in a team and then make them independent bosses at the same time, right? Because most people only want to make more followers, and his whole idea was, how do I make more
So
leaders out of the
speaking
people
of
around
Nip,
them?
somebody else that actually did know him personally, I think Dame has just requested to come in. So he's on
Oh, yeah.
the
Let's
request
bring the
line.
boss in there. Dave Dash, another one of the great bosses that inspired the
Dame,
world.
What's happening?
There you go.
What's going on?
There you go. Man, what's happening in the
I
legendary
mean,
life of Dame Dash, man?
just running through these schools, going into different towns, trying to teach people how to dream. You know, it, it it's
Yes,
it's a
sir.
it's a funny time because for a long time I've been complaining and hearing people complaining about the system and the things that aren't right about it. But we've actually architected a plan to actually fix things, and we're actually doing it. So, to me, first you have
Mm-hmm.
to deal with the ultimate problem, to me, which is in school they teach you how to not dream as opposed to dreaming. They don't teach you to visualize what
Mm-hmm.
you want your future to look like. They teach you to visualize what they want your future to look like. Laboring for them, being honored to work for them, for being honored to go to college, to get debt, to work that off for them, to work 9 to 5 every day except weekends for them, to not
Mm.
retire at a business that you don't own until you're 60 and you want to relax and you are too tired to try to start from scratch. And it all seems like a program. So we go into the schools, and what I'm learning, even from talking to the high school kids, no one even ever asked these kids what they dream about. So if you don't know what a kid
Mm.
what he dreams about, how you know what language to talk to him? How do you know what to teach him? You know what I mean? And if no one's asking
Right.
you what your dream is, they probably don't dream either. So literally I'll go
Right.
into a school and be like, they putting a lot of pressure, a lot, because you base, the success of a school on how many kids go to college. So there's a lot of pressure to get into college. But even when I ask the kids, so y'all going to college, what are you going to college for? They don't know. What do you want your life to look like
Mm-hmm.
after college? They don't know. They wouldn't know if their dream came true if it happened because they don't dream. So, that's my
Right.
thing, and that's what I've been doing. So we've been going through the schools. We went to Camden. So we was at Farrow's. We y'all got a mural over there. We built the studio in there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Travis, the principal. It was on the news and all that. Tomorrow we going to a school Yesterday, we spoke at Columbia on the OSG Summit, and Freeway was on that stage. We gave him a pin. We in Columbia. It's like we're actually in the institution that may be teaching what I don't like and reteaching right there. So this is about solutions and what it looks like when we have them, we do them and execute them. And
Right.
you'll find that most of these institutions are looking for a better way to teach. I found out yesterday at that Columbia with OSG that I didn't know this, that Thomas Jefferson, what's that called, Rock? The Thomas Jefferson?
The Jefferson curriculum?
The Jefferson curriculum. He made the education. It was meant for white kids to know how to control black kids. The education was meant for black kids to know how to be controlled by white kids. That was the curriculum. And we still go by that curriculum. So I'm not saying that they don't want to change. If no one brings the change, it's not going to happen. The schools are actually welcoming a new perspective on learning. People are really receptive for change. They just want somebody with a plan. So that's why I like linking up, because y'all doing it too. When I run into schools, there's murals. We show up, you show up. You know, we're in that circle of help and solutions, and showing that we can link up and do shit all over the planet is also showing what a solution looks like.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the Oakland thing, but before I do that, I want to give definitely flowers to Dame, because this whole financial literacy movement, I think I told him this before, but one of the key pivotal moments was Dame when he went on the Breakfast Club, and I think a little ahead of his time, because a lot of people didn't understand the message at that point in time. I think that was definitely one of the catalysts that started the financial literacy and really started to get differently about entrepreneurship, about, you know, taking control of their future, about business. So Dame was ahead of his time at that moment, and he definitely deserves a lot of credit for helping what we're in right now, for sure. That's a fact. And shout out to Pharaohs. We have a girl in the school. It's in the Bronx, the charter school. They have a podcast studio in the school as well. So that's really dope for a podcast studio to be a high school in the Bronx. Is giving kids not only an opportunity to learn the art of podcasting, because it is an art and a skill, but also on the technical side too, because you need to learn about cameras, you need to learn about microphone, you need to learn how to hear when you're doing these things, upload YouTube. So that
everything I do has to resonate with the trajectory of a child. That's all I'm doing and creating content for now, even down to the movie Prince of Detroit. But thank you for that. But what were you saying about the event? I didn't want to cut you off.
No,
you say I'll give you your flowers. Then when I give you
your
flowers,
give me my flowers. Thank you.
You gotta interrupt the delivery, man. You gotta let them.
I never say you don't give me my flowers. I never say that. Let me tell you my flowers.
Yeah.
This is how you give me my flowers right now by promoting this event. You know, see, what I love is when someone comes and asks me for advice, and then I can come and be a partner with them in some way, shape, or form. That means what I'm saying is not in vain. And that's why I want to make sure everyone knows that we are doing something together. We all got different businesses. We all have a different perspective, but we have a common ground for helping and loving our culture and being articulate and making our culture better. Not only like mentally, but physically. I like that.
Yes.
You know?
Dangerous solution. So Dame Dash 19 Keys in Oakland this Thursday. Oakland is symbolic for a variety of different reasons. Not only is it the home of the Black Panther movement, right? When you think of Bobby's, not the fictional Marvel character, like the real Black Panthers, right? So you think of Bobby Seale, when you think of Huey P. Newton,
Jimi Hendrix, don't forget that. He was out there. He was a Black Panther. He used to hang out with the Black Panthers when he was young. That's why he ran off to London. It got critical for him out there. He was a real rock star, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Oakland,
yeah.
Oakland is
Must've got
Oakland
too
is one of these
dangerous.
towns that's legendary for its history, but it's also not changing. So you got gentrification happening. You got this is important that we keep the root of our cities that mean a lot to us. Oakland, New Orleans. We can't let the culture Brooklyn. We can't let the culture be completely stripped. Harlem. We can't let the culture be completely stripped. So Oakland is significant in Black America for a variety of different reasons. It's also the home of
Absolutely.
19 Keys.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going on your block, 19.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. Listen, Oakland's such a powerful city, and it produces powerful people. Anybody that traveled through Oakland, man, they feel that energy and they feel that love instantly because I believe it births authenticity. More than anything. And I said the other day, integrity got to be rewarded. And the reason I say that because now it's so rare. We live in a world where integrity is rare. Just knowing yourself and being yourself. So when you talked about the children in school today, they don't know what authenticity is. So it's hard for them to develop a dream when you don't know who you are, right? And everything is about rewarding you, about being like someone else. I believe that we are all three men that know who we are. And that's really one of the stark differences on how you go about in the world, you move and you operate. And it ain't nobody that can tell you anything about yourself that can make you confused, you understand me, and derail you off your path because you know who you are. You feel me? And growing up in Oakland, it definitely encoded me and ingrained me with the experiences, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of who I am. And I can take that Oakland knowledge, game, and information anywhere in the world. And I have, and now I'm bringing it back because, we evolved. And to be able to do it with somebody historically for me that I looked up to specifically in the way you spoke truth, right? And stand on it. You feel me? So it's like giving your flowers. You like me. It ain't about hearing it and receiving it. It's more so about the other people experiencing that because we don't get it often enough where Black men that do good, have integrity, that's not heralded. You understand me? Like not selling your soul, should be heralded because it's a lot of people that do and then they get celebrated for it. Like, nah, those people that I celebrate are the ones like, damn. So I know for a fact you didn't take that deal. I know for a fact you ain't give up your integrity there. Those are the people that I love and respect, because those are the people that allow Black men to be sane, because it's hard living in this world where you got to constantly give up who you are in order to be rewarded within it. You feel me? So authenticity, I think, is key. And we live in a dangerous time right now, but it's dangerous for those who don't know themselves and who ain't trained, and but for us, the pivot is in. It's the time where you operate. It's a time where you recognize who you are and you pick up them skill sets and we execute around the planet. It ain't no man on this planet Earth that can tell me anything other than I'm gonna win. And that's it.
Period.
All right. And I don't care if the banks fail, I don't care if the institutions fail, I don't care what's going on. I know how to use my mind. As long as my mind don't fail, I succeed. And that's one of the greatest things I teach is the demonstration of how does a young man use his mind in all situations in the world to succeed? Even though I got a million things going against me, right? But I got a billion things going for me. So in Oakland, we go definitely come in there in full establishment, full attire, full decadence, full energy, and I want the room to be full as well. And we doing the live stream as well. So those that want to tap in that can't make it, or you want to get it for somebody else that's in your life, I feel like that's the bigger key. You feel me? Like you got a young man, a woman, or older gentleman, whoever the hell in your life, you got to put them up on game. You understand me? Like each one teach one. This is how we sharpen the world to get better. My whole campaign is how the hell we get to the highest level. And you can't get there by being fearful, and you can't get there with a stagnant environment, right? So if you replace some of the things that's in your environment right now and in your habits right now, when you change it to like, nah, I'm about to lock in with 19 Keys and Dame Dash, I'm gonna lock in with EYL. That's the automatic change of your environment and your reality, right? Then you start to see things change because you focus on the process rather than the outcome, right? So I look forward to having you there in the Bay Area, Oakland, California. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be powerful. It's gonna be good energy. A lot of people that's been signing up for the VIP, they've been hitting me and they ready to meet because I know we're gonna do 2 Zoom calls afterwards. So that makes this an even more personal experience that most people probably didn't even realize the depth of this is not just a one-time situation. Like this is a continuation. You feel me? And normally you don't get the opportunity to hear people speak and then speak to them afterwards with a few follow-ups, right? Shadi always talking about the power of networking and being in the room. And that's what really this is about as well. Like being in the room for all the things that we consume, right? None of the things are advancing your life. So you got to make sure that, you change your information diet a lot, especially during this time. And don't wait till it's too late because the right time is always now.
now. That is a fact. And I just want to say the comments. I was looking at the comments. They had cut off for a minute. So life's golden rule. Life's golden rule is you keep it real with people that keep it real with you. And this is a full circle moment for us, 360. I'll tell a brief story. So during COVID, well, when we first started, this is just full transparency, right? When we first started Earn Your Leisure, we had a target to interview 3 people. 3 people was on our target.
I was that early. I was on the board. Didn't even know I was on your radar. That's cold. No,
we had a target. We had a target to interview 3 people. Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace to Nip. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to interview Nip, but we was able to do the All Money In interview. His brother Black Sand. That meant that's why that really means so much to us because he was one of the 3 people. Jay-Z was the second person. We have not spoken to Jay yet, and the third person was Dame Dash. So Dame was on our trajectory, like target list. So during COVID, Kenny Burns connected us, and we interviewed Dame. And we went to his studio, and we spent like 4 hours with him, talking off camera, on camera, and he was very gracious with his time. He was very gracious with the information that he provided to us, and he didn't even really know us. So he didn't know that we was on a trajectory of being who we became, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. But then he also let us use his studio 2 days later to interview 19 Keys. That was the first time that we ever met 19 Keys.
Wow, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So he left the studio to interview 19 Keys. He didn't charge us any money for that. And he's just been a resource ever since. So now, 360, 2.5 years later, Earn Your Leisure, to the moon. So we have an opportunity to actually have some level of reciprocity in this. So 19 Keys, Dame Dash doing an event in Oakland, but Earn Your Leisure, we want to be as supportive and as helpful as possible. So we're going to sponsor 50% off for 50 tickets. 50 tickets from all ranges, from VIP all the way down to live stream, first come, first serve. All you got to do is enter code EYL, and you'll get 50% off of the first 50 tickets, whoever takes advantage of it first. And talking to Troy, I felt like that would be something, especially, economic times, people might have hardship. So if you could pay $50 into the room with Dame Dash and 19 Keys, to me, it's a no-brainer because I know that the information alone is so powerful. And shout out to Drizzy. Drake, one of the best to ever do it. But when you see Drake $1,200 for a regular seat, not even front row, like those tickets going crazy, $1,200 for like 50 rows mid-level, like, you know what I mean? And once again, shout out to Drake, shout out to 21, but what's more important, being entertained or being educated? And this is something that we've always battled with as a culture, and we're making progress, but we still haven't fully understood the priorities, right? And to me, education is always more important than entertainment, and especially not only just from an educational standpoint, from an inspirational, motivational standpoint, but then from a networking standpoint. Like you said, Keith, I'm big on networking because I understand how powerful networking is. It changed my life. It changed everybody that's around us lives. And this is a relationship of networking, right? From Dame, that's a relationship from Kenny Burns. That's a relationship from my guy Dave at United Matt. Like one person introduced to another person, introduced to another person, introduced to another person, and now we all here, right? And that's whether it's Robert Smith, whether it's Tyler Perry. I tell this story so much because it's true. Degrees did not get me in a room with Steve Harvey. Degrees did not get me in Carnegie Hall with Robert Smith. And I'm not knocking degrees. I think that it could be beneficial. I'm just being honest with you. It wasn't that I went to X, Y, and Z college and they looked at my resume and they say, okay, you deserve to be here. It was because of the value that we provided and the relationships that we cultivated. Two things: value that you provide, relationships that you cultivate. If you learn those two things, I promise you'll be on the road to success. So I'm real big in that because I feel like this is an opportunity in all these events for people. And these are markets that not a lot of people always go to, right? It's not like New York, LA, like you go to different places like Philadelphia, like Oakland, like Detroit. These are important cities, but these are cities that's often forgotten. So it's your responsibility as the people to make sure that when people do come to the city, that you support it. Because if you don't support it, then it's not going to happen again, right? And then you can't complain about, oh, they're not coming here. They left us out. What about us? Why y'all always go to Atlanta? Why y'all always going to New York? Well, this is an opportunity for a market that not traditionally has always been catered to show up, show out, show support, network with each other, build, and let's all grow. So 50% off of the first 50 tickets for anybody that takes advantage. The link is, I think he pinned the link. It's in their, both of their bios. Just enter code EYL. It's extremely easy. There's nothing else to do other than that.
Look, Dash one, you don't remember this.
Where's that at?
That was at that bonfire of Burn
Oh,
Gucci.
damn, that's crazy. Oh, you was there too? Damn, you been in the cut.
Yeah.
But you,
I'll be in the cut
anyway, this
sometime,
revolution,
man. Look,
you be there.
I was
like
at
that. The right revolution.
At the mystery school.
Yep, I remember that.
But you know, I'm that type of person. I just need to get in the room. I don't always need to. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till later. This ain't the right time to connect. You feel me? But being in the room and being in the environment is always there for me because I get ideas, I get insights, I meet people. You feel me? And I've always known the power of being in the right place at the right time. You feel me? And that's how I like translate everything.
You want that type of time. You see, it's about people that have a certain mentality. You know, they tend to meet up in the places where things need to be enlightened. You know, and I heard Oakland was on that type of time, and I'm really curious to know exactly how they can help me and how I can help them. Because, you know, my thing is independence is a war, and I'm living it. You know, watching it. Y'all living it. When you have a dream and you have to believe in yourself, you got to make that happen. And usually your dream should include helping other people that you love, but you got to make sure you're self-empowered. And when you on that type of time, you get with other people that are on that type of time. And again, it's about solutions. Complaining, we all know the problems. It's a cycle and a pattern that happen over and over again. So because we have the same problem over and over again, we know that's intention for somebody else. Those problems benefit other people. So our goal, karmically, based on the fact that we're enlightened to the problems, are to start to fix them. And this isn't a problem that only works one place or that's only happening in one, it's happening everywhere. And what people don't understand is historically, the history that they don't teach us, we were in control. We were abusing the whole world. We were big. They don't teach the Moors and none of that. And it makes sense because they don't want us to ever be in that type of position again. So they wipe out that history, never let us visualize us as number one, and continue to make me try to pound in our brain that they're number one and we're number two. This is the solution. Sticking together. That's the one thing we don't try, but we're doing it now. And we're taking it, like you guys are going all over the world, waking people up in language that they understand. So this is the solution. And whoever we get with, just like you, I'm looking at pictures, you really did put in the work of observing and being in there of the right revolution. You part of the construction of it, the blueprint and the mentality. And what I'm hoping is that when I go into each town, we find more 19 keys. You know, more people
That's
that
a
they'll be like,
fact.
look, we took pictures and now we doing activations together and getting money together. So the purpose of giving game, not hiding the plug, is so that you can make partners and your partners keep you strong. That's something that they do that we don't. When one of us makes money, not 20 of us do. And that's what has to happen. Collective economics, group economics. When we make the rules, when we are the bosses, when we can pick up the phone and call each other and practice nepotism and make sure that we make the laws. So teaching people how to be landlords is all we trying to do. Landlord of your life. You feel me? You should never have to rent your life. You should never have to pay a mortgage on your life. But don't give it away so that you got to buy it back with debt, because your life is time. So in the time that you exist, you want to have fun, but if you're a general, fun is fighting good wars for people you love. And
Come
that's what we're doing.
on, talk.
This is our idea of fun.
Yeah.
Finding more generals. That's all we're doing. And a lot of people want to be generals, they just don't know how. So I'm going to show you how. Key's going to show you how. Earn Your Leisure, Rashad. We're all different generals for different armies, but we all fight wars. That independent thing for more than just us. A mentality thing is our war. Understanding what we need to be fighting for and how we need to fight. So if you want to be a general, then you just have to tell us your dream and we'll show you, because I'm in it. I decided, I made money, corporate, all that shit. Now I'm going to be a general and fight for the independence and the freedom of my culture and my community while I fight for my own dream. So I don't sell nobody else's stuff no more. I sell mine. It's not Dame Dash presents Jay-Z or Kanye. It's Dame Dash and Dame Dash. You know? So I had to take that extra 10 years. I gave niggas a 10-year head start. I'll see you there. But now that I've built me and I've been strong enough to do that, I want to show people what that looks like. To say, yo, forget all that. It's time to focus on me. Be confident in what I do and how to get there and how to showcase that all around the world. The one thing y'all not doing is sitting still. Every time y'all around, I'm in London, y'all be, I'm going to London next week, or I'll see you Saudi Arabia, or this war has to be fought. The conquering has to happen all over the planet. There's freedom that needs to be had for everybody all over the world. It ain't just one race. It's just a collective frame of mind. You know, people that see things the same way. Because I'm not that guy that's going to hold everybody responsible for what their grandparents did. But I am going to hold you responsible if you still think like your grandparents. That's all. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, you know, everybody's ancestors' direct lineage wasn't great. And traditionalism is a disease of some kind, especially when the right traditions ain't passed down. And there's a lot of people that operate within the fear. Some people traditions in their family is
all
fear-based.
fear-based now for the last 100 years.
If
they control us with fear.
If you ask, there was a video Shad shared with me, and I was studying the psychologist Edward Barnett, and he was a master at controlling the emotions and fears of the public, right? How to conjure their fears and how to control them. And they believed that democracy was a lie, that they couldn't allow people to have their individual expression without it being controlled. And the public today believes that the decisions that they making, the things that they buy, the things that they do is their own will and volition and freedom. Nah, you being controlled by someone at the top. And so when somebody speaks truth, you know, it offends you because you have been programmed to go along with the lie. So therefore it hits you, it shocks you, it makes you offended. But that just means you're on the wrong side. You know, so for me, this is an army of change. This is about getting a bunch of people, because when, you know, in the crowd, you can't tell the fool from the scholar when everybody doing the same thing, right? And people feel healthy when it's in large numbers. But that same opposite effect can happen, right, when you have people doing the right thing in large numbers, right? And so it's about having generals and soldiers and people that can complement and back each other up and have an oath to protect each
But
other
just let me
and
just
be
say
there
this.
for
I
each
can't
other.
respect
Because
it
law
unless
enforcement
you're
have an
really
oath.
doing it. Y'all really doing it.
Oh no, you
That's
gotta
my
do
point.
it.
I know when I'm in the school,
You
y'all
know,
someplace else doing whatever y'all doing, making sure people are enlightened. If y'all wasn't on the road hitting it hard, I
yeah,
wouldn't be like, yo, I'm not respecting you as a general till you become one. Until I see you fight that war and fight
yeah,
right, then we can't have a level conversation. But the fact that you're doing it, but you could also
that's a
make sure
fact.
that you acknowledge everyone that's doing it and stick together. When armies come together, wars get won. As long as we know what we're fighting for. But y'all doing it. So I just don't want people to get it twisted. I'm like, nah, I'm rocking with them because they fight the right fight and they don't stop. And then this is just the beginning.
Yeah,
Like y'all, we've all created a new algorithm, the smart algorithm, the want to be better algorithm, the self-awareness of how powerful we are culturally and how powerful we can be economically and what kind of freedom comes with both, you know, because being rich is not what this is all about, but it's part of it. Because we have to breathe. If we needed oxygen and oxygen was currency, we do everything we could do to make sure we buy or create oxygen. Unfortunately, in this world, money, even the money that's not backed by gold, is still considered a form of oxygen for us. So we got to figure out how to have it. But to live and breathe, we should not have to compromise who we are. You feel me?
never,
So this is what it is. We like, yo, you can
never.
survive this way. And you do have to fight, but this is what it looks like when you fight for your dream. When you eat the food you kill every day. And this is how other people look at other people that eat the food they kill every day. They link up, and then they chop, and then they chew. And that's what you're supposed to do, and that's how you fight. Just sticking together and teaching and making sure you're making good money, not bad money. That's all.
Mm. I ain't gonna lie, I might not even talk in Oakland, man.
Nah.
I might just sit back on this one, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, David is the only person that I talk to in the whole world where I don't mind just shutting up and listening. I promise you. Because it's like when I talk to Dame, I have something on my mind. Like, damn, I want to go back and forth and have this converse, and then you start speaking. It's like, nah, I'm gonna just listen. And you know what? That's so key because for me, what we don't see is this exchange between free people, but also the respect that we don't see between, our generation and your generation, but mostly because we don't respect a lot of people that come from that generation. So the rule is to respect your elders, but what happens when you don't respect your elder, right? And so it's completely different when you got an elder that's respectable because you stand on integrity. That's when I look at a man and say, man, he's free. I respect free men. You can talk shit on the plantation all day long, but it's different when you free. That's a different conversation. That's just a person on the plantation. The greatest thing you can go for is freedom. When a man gets freedom, that's when he
That's
can
what
go
the
for the
dice
world.
dance is.
It's
That's the
different.
freedom dance. That's why not many people could do it. It's a simple dance, but you got to
Yeah.
have a certain kind of rhythm to do it. You got to be free.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. Freedom, I'm going to tell you, man, people think they freedom, but freedom ain't easy and it's expensive and it's a daily cost of living when you want to be free. A daily cost of living. And the biggest thing you got to do is not
Now,
sell
because
yourself.
some people think
That's
being a
it.
freedom fighter means being broke, and that's not it.
No. Rich and
You know,
righteous. Rich and righteous. Wealthy and
bro,
enlightened. Conscious
when
with
you make
cash.
people rich, you
Because you
get
can't go
rich.
to war without money.
But when you make people individually get rich collectively, when you figure out who could actually do something that you can't, then you could trade services. So if you a general or at this and I'm a general at that, and I'm not good at this and you are, now we've become very strong when we combine. And that's the purpose of collective fighting. And that's what we're doing. But again, the algorithm that
Right.
y'all and we have created is that you type in smart stuff and things come up. There's a lane for it. It's now a business. So this is with hip hop. evolved looks like. It's teaching, but teaching from a place not of distress, not even from survival, from winning wars, from coming back from the war and saying, this is how you do it. And watch me start another one right now. As I'm talking about the old wars, I'm in a brand new one. And now we're taking on what's important. We going into the education. We in Colombia, you know, we get to be with the kids. And no one understands the value of making sure these kids know, because they're going to be better than us, and also teaching them about how to hustle in the future. Nobody wants to know how you made money in the 90s because it don't work no more. The question is, how are you going to make money in 2030? And whatever's being created now is going to realize itself in 5-6 years. Anything that just got introduced to you now is the Flintstone version of it. AI, metaverse, Web3. This is the caveman days of it. But if you could visualize what it could look like in 10 years, then you could visualize how you'll be making money off it in 10 years. And that's what we're trying to teach everyone is, yo, this is old shit. Let me teach you about the new shit too. How you combine the old shit. Every job that's going to be lost from AI, there's a new one created. That's what we want to start focusing on, and that's what the education needs to be. I don't expect the teacher to know that. They're not outside. But you outside, we outside. And we also creating new industries and new algorithms. We done it. So we could talk about what algorithm we want to create, how to approach it, you know, and then how to make money in 10 years. That's how you fight the war, by being the landlord in 10 years of everything.
That's the part of how to control the future. You know, being future proof. That's why it's called dangerous solutions. How to control the future. And what I realized though, people think so. You know, my uncle, man, Nadar, he was from Oakland, and he taught me the game of thinking long term. You know, he used to hit me with that all the time because he taught me the game of politics. He'd take me to the different city council meetings, and he had met with different people just to expose me to that environment and give me game. And then he'd show me checks that he'd be like, look, it'd be like a check for like 500,000 or something. He'd be like, look at this check. And he'd say, your generation, they want everything so fast. Y'all don't understand the game. This check was something I did 2-3 years ago. When you learn how to plant seeds, that's when you really play the game, right? And so when that really took a hold and I stopped thinking short term and I started thinking long term, it changed what I went for. It changed what I listened to. It changed how I behaved. Because at first I was going for week to week. Anything outside that parameter of month to month, anything they talking about years from now, anything they talking about months from now, I wasn't going for. But I realized I was losing in the present day because I wasn't planting the seeds a year ago, 2 years ago. I wasn't learning that. So now when it happened, I'm far behind and always playing catch up, which means I can never be in first. So now I want to be in a championship league at all times, which means that I have to put the work in before the race. You understand me? I can't look at the stats and be like, damn, who the fuck in first place? I'm not even in the game at that point. So we trying to put a lot of people in the game, and a lot of people, businesses are at risk because it's outdated, or people get content and comfortable, or they move through fear. When I went on Market Mondays, I said, at this time, you don't operate from defense. You operate from offense. You have to go and attack. This is the mode that I'm in right now. All the team has to learn new skills. Yeah, you was good at your job the last 5 years. That's cool, but you don't have job safety unless you got new skills. This is the great de-skilling of America. Everybody got to be skilled at something, whether it's AI, whether it's goddamn storytelling, whether it's project management, whatever it may be. If you don't have a value to where you can serve a mass group of people, then what are you needed for? Of course you'll get replaced by a machine and a robot, because it can do a job that I don't want human error and laziness and procrastination and emotions and feelings to constantly be in the way, talking about they want to live softly when shit is hard outside. So I want people that's constantly getting better and better and more efficient so that we can execute at the highest level. And then when we choose to live softly, we can. But don't make it a delusional reality if you ain't got the habits that produce that reality. That's what we talking about. So, and that goes with real step-by-step shit. I ain't talking about just from
Well,
Motivation,
Keith, let me
motivation
let you
without
understand
instruction is
something real
dangerous.
fast,
I'm talking
real
about
quick.
education.
What you gotta, and we all have to realize, as there's been a programming for hundreds of years for us to think success is something that success is not. So what we're actually doing is first actually breaking a pattern of people that have been taught as a culture that we're number two for years and been taught how to be scared as like a normal thing. Like that's part of the game is being scared. When that should never be part of the game, but it's actually taught. So reprogramming doesn't happen overnight. Waking up people, because once they woke, they really want to get as much as they know about to make themselves better. But sometimes they didn't know they wasn't actually so strong. Sometimes they thought they were strong because they were given some sort of dream to live up to that meant, yo, if you're controlled the right way, you won. But for some reason, like, I don't feel good. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. And, you know, I saw a question on there like, yo, how did I put out low vibrational music? I was 16 years old. So what I could tell you was this. I know what it is to be successful at selling things that I know hurt the culture and the community, how much it hurts and how much work it is to fix that once you realize that when you become an adult, period. So again, I did make a lot of money selling things that made me survive for me in that moment. But when I realized it was the wrong way and what it was doing to my culture, I went to being more artistic and leading by a different example. So judging a man by his past makes no sense. You judge a man by what he's doing now. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want nobody to work. When you run up on me,
Dang,
it don't be about Rockefeller. Right now, it would be about what you did with 19 Keys and Earn Your Leisure and them schools and that Columbia and OSG and the interview. And that's what I want to go down as. I never wanted to be known as an entertainer or entertainment. I wanted to go down next to Malcolm X. You feel me? I wanted to be in the conversation of fighters, not the conversation of those that made money for selfish reasons and went through a tragic life. I want to be known as a warrior. That's wealth. Back in the Roman days, you couldn't be famous. No matter how much money you had to go conquer something. So it's not the same day, and conquering something is a whole different thing. But there's a lot to conquer. So if I'm going to be famous for something, I want to be famous for helping the world be better. That's what I want to be famous for, and fighting fearlessly. And it takes actually making a mistake and fixing a mistake publicly. And that's happened.
A lot of people are celebrated for being blessed by the devil.
Exactly.
And what I learned is, you know, people may mock your progress, but they'll celebrate your results. So at the end of the day, when you go through and you do anything in our community, in our culture, I know this for a super fact. We don't look at businesses that we start as startups and be like, oh, that startup failed. Now he went and learned a lesson and he did more, and that's his hero's tale. We look at, oh, he failed. He's not a good business person, things of that nature. We don't even have the same view of business at all when we look at each other. But when it comes to a white boy, he started a business in Silicon Valley, a bank fails. The name of the people ain't out there. Those are not the people being blasted. It's the institution, because they look at it completely different. The rules are different for us than it is them. And plus, for what we do on the education side, it takes 10 times, maybe 100 times more work to get ahead versus when you see somebody else that get ahead going the way of the world. You feel me? Like doing it in the education way, like that's why I talk to Rashad. I'm like, Rashad, sometimes I remember when I used to talk with him on camera, he's always look tired. and I think he get a little more sleep in between the interviews now. You feel me? But I understand, because when you jumping and you moving and you working, right? Sometimes you sacrifice, you know, a little bit of your body and your health because you got to get things done. right? But people don't look at the background. Number one, the intellectual power and property it takes to be able to think on the fly, to design your stuff, to come up with these things, to move on a daily basis, to schedule them, to manage your people, to manage your life, your own emotion, spirit, body, balance. It's a billion things. Plus, you got to figure out how to get into the algorithm that's not even for you. So I look at Black Genius different, because for you to get ahead, it required you to go against insurmountable odds versus somebody else getting ahead and all they had to do was go with the flow, right? So that's why I respect individuals like yourself and individuals like Rashad, right? And all our peers that's doing the work, because we're not, you know, if you see me on the red carpet, because I learned how to understand the game, I ain't supposed to be there. But I'm gonna be everywhere I ain't supposed to be,
Well,
you
now,
know,
but now
because
you
I
earned
get
your,
to
now you're,
determine that
but
for
you did earn
myself,
the right
not
to
the
be there
world.
now. You
Also,
know?
also,
Yeah,
also
I
it's
earned my
important
leisure.
to pay respects to people while they still here as well. Because once again, rest in peace to Nip, and I love Nip, but it's like how many people really had that deep level of reverence or respect or appreciation for Nip when he was still alive, right? It's unfortunate, but it's like when somebody dies, then they think. And
Look, Nip was on that type of time, bro.
what I'm
And
saying,
he was reading. I know what you're saying, but I just wanted to give him his props real quick. My bad.
so it's like when we do an event, and it's an event in Oakland with 19 Keys and Dame Dash, they're still alive. So living legend, because it's like a legend that's actually still living. So that's extremely important to understand. Pay the reverence, but more important than paying reverence, get the information, because that's the stuff that's really going to change your life. It's not about like,
Yo, Rashad, let me just say this. You know what it is when, if you had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all these different leaders in the same room before they won the wars, and then you've actually become a part of history. What we're doing is historic because it's never been done before. It's the first time that men are coming together that are actually could tell you based on what they've seen and done and are collectively trying to help. It's the play that we've never seen. It's the thing that we've been talking about but never done. So even like the reason why, you know, and I love the fact that everyone's taping everything, but I want y'all to rewind back to the 90s, and I had somebody moving around with a big ass camera the size of a sneaker box, and everybody saying I was extra. And I was like, nah, I already know in the future that this is going to be history, which will be currency. And that whoever's here is going to say, oh, I was there. And they can say they saw this, and I saw Dane when he was this young, and blah, blah, blah. This is that, because this is a brand new Dane. This is 19 Keys. Now, if this is 19 Keys now, what do we look like in 10 years? What do we look like in 20 years? So how old are you? How old are you, 19?
That's the only
How old
man
are
on
you?
the planet I'm jealous of. I'm 19.
What do you look like when you 30? I'm 51. I'll be 52. What I'm saying is, if you 30
Yeah.
in 20 years, you still gonna want to be crispy, and you're gonna
No, that's
build
a
and
super
evolve.
fact.
So, what do you look like with your trajectory? Pause in 20 years. So, whoever's gonna be a part of this now will be a part of history 10 years from now.
You know what else so crazy, Dave? So a few things about that. So when we was in the classroom, I'm sure everybody knows the story about me and Troy teaching in the classroom. So those classroom videos was filmed on an iPhone by Abdullah, our COO currently. And I told him, like, yo, record this. Hold the cell phone and record it. And at the time, it's teaching 30 kids about financial literacy in the summer. I don't think people really understood why he was recording it, but I understood it. I understood that it was history, and it's actually a documentation of history that's going to serve as not only promotion in the moment, but an archive for future. And that's actually exactly what happened.
It's a futuristic artifact.
That's exactly what happened.
What's on the walls in Egypt right now, exactly. A billion years later.
Exactly. That's a fact. And then also, I'll never forget, when we was doing events, when we first started doing events, somebody had told us, they was like, record everything and record even the people that's in the room. Because he was like, there's somebody in the room. Like, you know what I'm saying? That in 10 years, you're going to be like, yo, he was there. He was front row. Proof he was front row. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he becomes a billionaire, when he becomes the president, when he's
exactly,
like, I guarantee you, there's gonna be somebody in the room that alone is gonna have playback value. But
that's my point.
Imagine Malcolm X giving. Imagine. All right. Imagine Mike Tyson, right, fighting, and Floyd Mayweather was front row because his dad took him to see the fight. Imagine if that moment was captured.
That moment that he actually got burnt out and was like, I want to be a boxer, was captured. I get it.
Yeah.
Why you think listen, the programming I do for Baby Dusko is so he can see his memories that he won't be able to remember when he's older. You know, I think back to like when I was younger, I'm like, damn, I wish I could see exactly how I was when I was 1 year old, how I watch myself evolve. I'd love to see how I was taught, what made me the person that I am. Just, you know, pictures and being told is one thing, but actually watching it, hearing it, knowing your voice, the way you walk, knowing where you came from. So this is that. Just like, you know, how you could always reference, you know, the radio show, you know, on the Breakfast Club. It's documented. You can see the evolution of the culture, what was architected from that conversation and how it affected the world. The receipts are there. I know exactly what I did because I did it on purpose. You feel what I'm saying? That was my intent, to come up there and not be nice. Because I was sick of this shit. No one was listening. And I knew it was going to sting people, but I knew it was going to wake them up. It was the wake-up show, right? So that's what I was on there to do. Right. I wasn't on there to talk about bubblegum shit, and this was making me mad. Before that day, that's all that was talked about was bubblegum shit. Now, after that day, mostly what's talked about is a little bubblegum shit, but it's about being an entrepreneur and celebrating smart shit, and it just became different. So, you know, you got to have war to make peace. Fact. But it should capture.
And when I think about that moment, it reminds me of me going on Breakfast Club with these brothers, is the fact that a lot of these, shit don't change unless a change maker comes, unless a general comes, right? Because they didn't set up that conversation for it to occur like that, right? That's not the programming that was set up that they had, like, yo, we go change. That was Dang Dash coming in there saying, I got a war and I want to shake shit up.
Well, at
right?
the time,
so like it's the same with generals. I would have never.
That's not even. It's not even fair for them until they become generals.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, even when people see me move, that's not the agenda of somebody else. That's my agenda, right? Shit don't get changed unless somebody brings their agenda in the room. I don't get on Breakfast Club because that's Breakfast Club agenda. That's me collaborating with my brothers, right? And then I'm on there, and so then you get to see different representation and change. And because a lot of mainstream media, well, all of mainstream media act like the young guys don't exist, even though we do brilliant things in our own atmosphere. So we always have to kick down the door so that we can represent ourselves and then create a new way for everybody that comes after that. So when you got up there, you created an opportunity for more voices and thought leaders and speakers to come up there with some truth and representation. And not only did you affect the world, you affected you affected everybody in that room, because you challenged all of the existing, conditions that people have, which is their idea of success and the idea of being a boss. Because most people thought they were a boss until they had to question.
See, they were teaching people to think they were successful when they were not.
Right, you feel me? So when I fired my boss, I definitely did it in that spirit. I had to let them know it ain't working out for y'all. Y'all can't afford me no more.
I like that. You don't quit, you fire your boss. I like that.
No, we fire. We don't quit.
I like that.
Because they put it in a negative term, like you weak. I ain't quit shit in my life.
What's that other shit you said when the devil blesses you? That's what you said though, right? Because that was heavy. I'm taking that. I like that.
Yeah, when the devil blesses, people get celebrated for being blessed by the devil.
You're going to hear that in my vernacular. Pause. Sorry about it, but I'll give you your publishing. Don't worry about it.
Go ahead, man. See? Appreciate it.
It's just great when you can learn from somebody.
Well, yeah, man.
See me, I give it up. I'll be like, I like that one, man, because it made a clear picture of exactly what's going on. That's why I like it. It makes it easier to talk. Sometimes I try to
Yeah.
explain shit, and I'll be like, I don't know how
I
to
don't
say
think
this so people understand it. You know? But
right. Well, I think that's what that's what I think all of us do for a lot of people is, it helps us think. Right? And I think that the biggest war in the world is how to think. Right? Because if you can't be a general, you
you're
can't
not a general.
strategize. And
You
if
know,
you can't think, then you can't strategize. So practicing emotional detachment, looking back at your options, in that moment, that's when you strategizing. Right? That's the art of wars. Looking at the playing field and saying, how do I move? But most people are so caught up in the reaction of day to day, they never strategize, right? So you can never be a boss, you can never be a general because you don't actually own your reality.
Well,
You're a
also, what I
reaction to
like is
reality.
no matter what the situation, you always have to paint the picture. You always have to look at it as a win. I don't quit. I fired you. I like that. That's better. It's a W, not a loss.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always look at the
Right.
loss in something or the W in something, and people always try to make you only know the loss in something that's going to help you if it doesn't behoove them. But if you only look at things as a winner, if you only say whatever I do is for the W, then that's the way you articulate things as well. It always has to be from a winning lens, and I like that a lot.
And narrative play. You get to paint your
Yeah.
own
Narrative
narrative.
is everything. Yeah, I like that.
This Thursday, Oakland, California, Dame Dash 19 Keys, extremely dangerous event with solutions, meet and greet vibes. It's gonna be a whole aura, man. And Earn Your Leisure, as I said, we've been empowered by both of these brothers. Our partnership with 19 Keys has been extremely fruitful, and our relationship with Dame Dash has led to a lot of great things that have happened for us. So it's an honor to be able to show some reciprocity in the situation, and we will be sponsoring 50% off for 50 tickets. 50 tickets, 50% off. All you gotta do is use code EYL. And as I said, this is a way to get in the building and build with not only them, but other people, other like-minded people. It's extremely important in this day and age when we see AI taking jobs, when we see, global landscape changing, when we see banks collapsing. The most important thing that you can do is invest in yourself. The most important thing that you can do is establish relationships, because that's what's really going to carry you to the next level. You can't rely on just your education. You can't rely on just your job. You can't rely on just your bank account. Like, these are things that's invaluable. Relationships are always more valuable than money, in my opinion, because money comes up and down, it fluctuates, but a solid relationship is going to be here. It's going to stand the test of time. Just think of a marriage, right? If you really are in a marriage that you really love your spouse, how much money would you trade your spouse for? You can't put a price tag on it, right? Because your spouse is invaluable. So think of every relationship. A marriage is just a form of a relationship, right? There's other types of relationships in your life. So think of every relationship like that. Like, how valuable is our relationship with 19 Keys? We can't put a price tag on it, not only for what has already happened, but what could happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the future look like? Dave said, like, what does the next 10 years look like? What does the next 15 years look like in a partnership? Like, these are things that you got to start looking at when you think about your relationships. So
when you start something, you have to look at the way you want to finish it
Relationships
first.
are a hedge.
In the start, you have to picture the end. There's no reason to start a business if you don't know your exit
Relationships
strategy.
are a hedge. I think people got to understand, we talk about hedges in the market, like gold being a hedge for market decline or crypto, but education and relationships are a great hedge, right? Like, intellectual property is a hedge, skill set is a hedge, learning how to strategize is a hedge, right? Being able to diversify your skill sets is a hedge. That's wealth, that's power, right? If things get dangerous outside, having an army is a hedge. Right, so that's why it's important that you network and you build with people. And I give Rashad his flowers because, he's working with one of the most dangerous men ever to exist, and he ain't flinching. So y'all give that brother his flowers because, that's extremely important to note. you know, but I'm serious though because I've been doing this for a minute. I work with a lot of people. Sometimes.
My bad.
Oh man, my brother Dad,
Look,
for sure, for
Nicolette, you want
sure.
this?
look, I
It's
think it's
weak.
important. We can keep going. I know we can do
Yeah, make sure y'all get y'all live stream as well. If you got your tickets, press one already. Get your live stream so you can be in there. Get with the family, sit down, sit them down, and listen to this, man, so that everybody can be tapped in. Don't be selfish. Share the information. Share the knowledge. Ladies, bring that part. If you introduce somebody, invite them here. You feel me? I'm just telling you, if you in the Bay Area, because that also means Sacramento, that means Piedmont, that means Alameda,
hey, but
that means Saliandro, that means Hayward, Vallejo, right? Everywhere. If you listen, this gonna be the best dating pool Oakland has ever had in the last 50 years. Because if they showing up to this,
You
it's
know,
most likely one of
you
the
know what type
ones.
of time they
Same
on.
thing,
You know
fellas.
what
If
type
she's
of
showing
time
up
they
to
on.
this, she one of the ones.
That's
Yeah,
let
real life.
me just tell
I'm
you
telling
this.
you, my
I'm in
audience
business
is a
with
dating
my
pool.
my my fiance, and we going into the
Yeah,
school now. I ain't getting no bread, but she's selling books, you know, and my son gets to come,
yeah.
and we all have to move together when we on tour, because a real boss spends more time with his family than his business. That's what a boss does. He figures out how the company could run without him. That's a good boss. But you have to, when it's time to promote something, you got to hit that road. You got to put in that work so that you do have that time, and you have to architect it so that your family is not compromised, because that's the wealth. You know, if you stood home and just grew, and if you built your own house and that's all you was worried about, you would be with your kids every day. You would never have to leave. And those everything else is extras besides, like, eating and having a place to live. We can actually do that on our own anywhere, and it doesn't cost that much. It just takes work, and you would have the most wealthiest life. So you have to. The trick is to figure out how to make that volume to live in luxury, but not compromise time with your family. And that's another thing I've had to architect. I changed my whole business model around what makes my family comfortable. You know, And what we've been taught to do is say, yo, leave your kids to go get money. And I don't think that's the right approach. I really don't. I think the more time with the kids, the less time you have to be around them when they're adults. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't teach your child how to be like you, if you don't lead by example, if they don't appreciate your struggle, if they don't fight for nothing, they're not going to fight to keep it. So you have to figure out how to make sure they're fighting with you. You know?
Man, to end that off, what you just said, I met a young lady this weekend in the airport, and she wanted to take a picture, and she was telling me how she was trying to decide whether she wanted to go to school in Jersey or South Carolina. And just like everybody I can think of, they do it. And she lived in the burbs in Chicago. She do it to try to get some freedom, or what she considers to be freedom, to have experiences. And the first thing that children want to do is to get away from their parents, right? And I think it's based on the way that, of course, we know it's based on the way society is built. But when you build the right experiences with your children, the first thing that they do is not thinking of that their freedom is to escape you, right? And so for me, it's about, teaching people specifically in this era, because you might not understand your child at all because the internet is raising them more than you are, because that influence is heavy. So even understanding how to parent in this time, right? For me, I run a family business. Learning how to be a brother in this time and learning how to be a boss and make everybody else that work with me bosses is key. But if you operating off any traditionalism of the past, you're going to 100% fail. It's not where we get. That's not where we going. That's not what we doing, right? So when we get on this Zoom call, that's like a whole nother workshop that we not even really talking about. But the Zoom calls is key, because you and your family could be sitting there in the living room talking to us about the solutions that can set your
It's about
trajectory up for the next
about
100 years,
architecting what your future
right?
looks
So if
like.
you're not making that, yeah, you got to make that play for the family. Who's the general in your family that's making that play, saying, listen, man, I done got this for us. I need everybody to meet up. Those who don't meet up, they not part of the wealth of the family. That's the way I set it up. You understand me? I need everybody to be there. Let's ask these gentlemen questions. Let's see if we can build with them. Let's take something from this and let's architect a family blueprint. But how many families get together and they sit down and they operate and they build. So for me, it's more than just the day. It's more than just Oakland. Because anything we do, especially when we streaming it or we got a Zoom, that's for the world. So don't think about this as a localized event. This is a global event that you can change the trajectory of your family, right? And you can be in the right circumstances.
That goes back to knowing what your child's dreams are. So if you know what your child's dreams are by spending time, you create that around them, and then that becomes the business that you both fight for. So my girl, her dream was to write books for her son. So we created that, and that became her business.
Yeah.
A job that she could go to and bring her child. The reason why, and what people don't really understand about Rockefeller, was the reason why I stopped doing Rockefeller, because it was no longer an environment. It was never an environment that my daughters could be raised in. So I couldn't have my daughters around unrecognized people with unrecognized trauma coming from the survival mode. It just wasn't for my daughters. I could not have Ava and Tallulah around that. So that's why I started to open up art galleries and things of that nature and deal more with culture and being creative. I needed them to.
Look like we had a little lag over there. Make sure y'all text Oakland, get your live stream, get your Zooms, get the VIP package, because afterwards we doing a VIP event as well, right? So y'all can really parlay and come tap in with us afterwards. But I'm not holding back on no blueprints the day of. You know, anything that I know I will be teaching, especially in terms of things you can actively use and execute immediately. Yeah, that's when that call comes. You know what I'm talking about? What up, Flo?
They cut his mic.
That's what they did. They put that they put that one in as soon as he said, all right, let's cut this off. Damn, the Rockets in the building. God damn.
They cut it off. But yeah,
shout out to Erica Ford, the legend. She said she got hers. You know, so listen, I appreciate all y'all. Make sure y'all tag me so I can repost that. I look forward to it. Thank you, Brother Rashad, and the sponsorship that y'all put together for the people. It means a lot to be able to bring something back to my city. Anytime you want me to come to your city, as long as I got some time, I'm there. Actually, I was just in your city. Number one, I went to your hood. I seen the mural of you there under that cold ass bridge you took me to, right? It was dope to go there to see where y'all grow up, to see y'all environment, to see where y'all build, man. Y'all some real brothers. You know what I mean? Y'all really from the environment that y'all come from, and y'all tap in with family, right? And that's what gives y'all that North Star, right? Where y'all can't get lost, right? And that's why this movement is so strong, and people try to figure out how is this working, and so many have failed. And at the same time, y'all need to look at how can you help this continue to propel in the future to be more successful. This is how these things grow. They don't grow from just what we do. They grow from us operating and then you working with us. That's the only way this thing works. It's not like some magic power we sprinkle on the world. It's literally the people that we serve, right, reciprocating that, because when you see something that you focus on, you grow that in the right manner. So EYL will continue to grow as long as the people continue to grow with it. I'm going to continue to grow. Dame will continue to grow. And so will this movement. So make sure y'all tap in. Text that number or link in the bio.
Check-in. Shout out to Slow. And we got the All Money In interview. And when I was in Cali, they actually mentioned, they told me stories about I think they cruised together, so, Kabi Supreme, and they all spoke very highly of him. So shout out to Slow. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. And shout out to the whole team, man. All Money In. That's like family to us now. So we did that interview with them, and I've been tapping in with Black Sam almost every other day. Good brother. They just real solid, old school. I was talking to Jadakiss about this. Like, before we leave, I just want to say that, like, them dudes, like, they like real old school, like, gangster. I'm saying, like, old, like, they don't gotta like try to prove how tough you are, or just very respectful, chill. Like, don't do interviews, not on social media that much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, real old school, like. And I appreciated that from them. So definitely big shout out. And Dame, our big brother, somebody that we both drew a lot of inspiration from, and somebody that's just a good dude and one of the best talkers of all time. So if you're in Oakland, you are playing yourself. I'm gonna be honest with you. You are playing yourself if you don't see
in the Bay. We gotta say the Bay. This in the Bay. Shit, if you in LA,
Whole
take a
West
road
Coast.
trip. That's how I feel.
Oh, the whole
Yeah, the
West.
whole West Coast.
Yeah.
Pull up to
Like
Oakland, man. You good.
pull up to Oakland this Thursday, 19 Key Game Dash. It's an honor to be able to sponsor some tickets. We're doing 50% off for the first 50 that take advantage of that. Just enter code EYL, and it'll be 50, and it's for everything from VIP all the way down to live stream. So even if you can't make it, you can watch the live stream, and you'll get discount on that as well. So tap in. It's always an honor and a pleasure. I know Magic is gonna happen this Thursday, and it's gonna be one of the ones, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. Likewise.
Shout out to
Toronto, bro.
One last thing, Toronto, Canada. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna post this probably tomorrow, but we sold out Toronto. Myself, Roy, 19 Keys, and Ian. Market Mondays, high level conversations. We coming to two shows
back to back.
And April 3rd,
Very
first time
important.
ever for business financial literacy that 2 shows were sold out back to back like a musical artist, and we still got 2 weeks to go. So it's crazy that we sold out 2 shows in a different country that we never did an event in. It just shows the demand for the message that we bring into the world. It's not a domestic message, it's a global message, internationally respected all over the world. So shout out to Toronto. Love you guys so much. Can't wait to touch down. We appreciate the support, and we're gonna put on the show for sure.
Peace, God.